Hello and welcome to the first in the PowerPoint series at the Geeky Teacher. So today we're going to be looking at some triggered animations. So the first thing I need is something to animate. So from PowerPoint I'm going to insert, let's put in a rectangle, and let's also put in a triangle, and let's put in a hexagon. Okay, so we apply animations in the usual way. Under the animations panel I can just click on my shape and add an animation to it. So this first shape I'm going to want to fade out. The second shape, let's have a look. Why don't we make it change color? And the third shape, let's give that a bit of a motion path. So if we were to look at the slideshow now, the animations will start on clicks in order. So the first animation, when we click, it disappears. The second animation changes color, and the third sends us on that motion path round in a circle. What we can do with triggered animations is assign each of these animations to only happen when we do a certain thing, or perhaps when we click on a certain thing. So this rounded rectangle, which was fading out, we're going to tell it to fade out only when we click on it. So we have our animation. If you don't have this animation pane up at the moment, click on animations and then just click on animation pane. So we want to assign a trigger. It's just this drop down menu here. So we're going to tell the rectangle to work on click of rectangle. You'll notice over in the animation page it tells us the different triggers, the different objects, and what will happen when we click on them. So at the moment we have this trigger to make it fade out. So if we run the slideshow, when we click on the screen, you see we still have the same animations for the second and third shapes when we click, but the rectangle didn't fade out as we wanted it to. It will only fade out when we click on it. So you see, as the mouse moves from the white area onto the shape, the cursor shape changes. You see we've now got a hand as opposed to the arrow, which that's our indication that something will happen when we click on it, and in this case it fades out. So we can assign triggers to the other animations. So maybe we want the triangle to fade out when we click the triangle, and the hexagon to fade out when we click the hexagon. So now you can see that if we click on the shapes, they'll animate. It doesn't matter what order we click them in. So we could click the hexagon first, we could click the triangle, the rounded rectangle, and if we click it again, it will just try and run the same animation. Clicking on the screen, that just takes us to the next slide, which in our case is the end of the show. You can change that by looking in the transitions pane, and you see it says advanced slide on mouse click. If we untick that box and then run our show, clicking will do absolutely nothing. So the only way to control the slide is through our triggered animations. That's useful if you're planning on using these types of animations and either have a lot of them, or there's quite small shapes, or you want to make sure people have clicked on your animation before proceeding. You'll see this much better in the examples that will follow. Another useful thing we can do is assign more than one animation to a trigger. For example, if we take our triangle, at the moment it's changing color when we click on the triangle. We could add another animation to it. So we click add animation, and maybe we also want it to pulse. by default, it's pulsing when we click on it. We can take it and drag and drop it into any of the existing triggers. So maybe I'll put it in the hexagon trigger. What will happen now when we run our show? So we've still got the same animation for the rounded rectangle, the same animation when we click on the triangle, when we click on the hexagon. The first time it goes round in a circle, the second time it's making the triangle pulse. So here we can see that we can assign multiple animations, and we can also animate one object using another.